Finland's top prosecutor made good on her word Friday, appealing the unanimous March 30 decision by the Helsinki District Court that dismissed all hate speech charges against Finnish Member of Parliament Päivi Räsänen, whose court battle has been dubbed the Bible trial. Now, in this case, well, I guess I should ask the question, is this case headed for Finland's Supreme Court and perhaps even the European Court of Human Rights? Some think so. Joining me now to discuss this is Lorcán Price. He's the legal counsel at ADF International, which has been supporting Päivi's defense team. Lorcan, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Good evening, Tony.
Thanks so much for staying up late. I know it's late there in Finland. Unlike many other legal systems, under Finnish law, the prosecutor can appeal not guilty verdicts all the way to the Supreme Court of Finland. Is that what you expect here, that this will go all the way to the Supreme Court?
Yes, unfortunately, that is what we expect. This case is now headed to the Court of Appeal first. That's the next stage after the district court. But because of the legal issues raised in the case, we expect it to go to the Supreme Court. And the reason for that is that really this prosecutor has determined to pursue both Päivi and Bishop Johanna to the maximum extent of the law for expressing their Christian beliefs. And if we're not victorious in the Finnish court system, then you're also correct that we may find ourselves going to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg in France. So this legal battle, unfortunately, is not over, despite the fact that we had a very clear and, as you pointed out, unanimous decision from the district court dismissing all of the hate speech charges.
Now, how often does that happen where you get a unanimous decision dismissing charges, acquitting someone, and it being appealed? How often does that happen?
Well, it's very unusual in most legal systems. In the common law world, that is the United States, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, Canada, it's highly unusual and, in fact, almost impossible for a prosecution to appeal a not guilty verdict. Normally, if there's an appeal, it's something to do with the sentencing, if they argue that it might be too lenient, but that's where a guilty verdict is returned. However, in Finland, the prosecution has this extraordinary power to appeal verdicts that are not guilty, and they can do it on not a narrow grounds, but on a very wide grounds. So what we're seeing in this appeal, and we've now received the documents from the prosecution side, is that they're contesting every single issue from the district court. This means that Päivi will have to go back through everything to do with the tweet of the letter to the Romans, of her pamphlet published in 2004, and of the remarks that she made on a radio show. And it just means that all of the matters that were dealt with will have to be relitigated essentially now before another panel of judges in another court. It's an extraordinary waste of public resources, of court time, and it's also putting very significant pressure again on Päivi and Bishop Johanna, even though they thought the matter was to some degree closed. But this prosecutor seems to have what I think is really approaching a campaign against these two prominent Christian politicians, public figures, really because they have made this trial all about their right to freedom of expression and freedom of religion. And I think that has embarrassed the Finnish prosecutorial service. And that's why, in particular, the prosecutor general is pursuing this matter as far as she can go with it.
Lorcan, remind our viewers and listeners what the outcome of this could mean for free speech, religious freedom in Finland and more broadly in Europe.
Yes, it's a very important case in Finland, obviously, because really what's at stake here is the ability of Christians to share the good news of the gospel in public without it being a criminal offense. And even though we had a victory at the district court, the purpose of these type of hate speech prosecutions isn't necessarily to result in a conviction, but to create a chilling effect for all Christians and others who want to express a view on particular matters to do with human sexuality that interrupts the modern worldview or that contradicts the modern worldview. And I think in this case, it's absolutely crucial that we secure a good precedent from the Finnish Supreme Court ultimately. And if it does go to the European Court of Human Rights, that we secure a good precedent there, because Christians across Europe are watching this case because the implications of it are so important. But I can say that Päivi and Bishop Johanna have been enormously strengthened by the prayers and messages of support they've received from around the world. So even though they were initially shocked that the prosecutor was appealing this decision, they've drawn great strength from that support, and they're determined to meet the challenge of this new appeal and take it as far as they must to vindicate their right to speak freely about the gospel in public.
Lorcan, very quickly, we're up against a break, but how long could this process go?
Well, we expect the next decision to be, or the next hearing rather, to be sometime in early autumn, and then the Supreme Court decision after, or the Supreme Court hearing after that, will probably be early in 2023. They will fast track this case because of the important issues it raises, and if we're victorious there, that will be the end of the matter. If it goes to the European Court of Human Rights, unfortunately, it could take 2 or 3 years before it's fully resolved.
Wow.
So we hope it won't come to that.
Amazing. Well, we will continue to be praying for Päivi, let her know that, and we'll be praying for the whole legal team. Thank you, Lorcan, for staying up late and giving us this update.
My pleasure. Thank you, Tony.